I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The more you talk, the harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
You know, I'm shocked that people are actually surprised that this didn't turn out to meet their expectations and people were let down by this. I'm surprised that some people were surprised about that. Me personally, I was never hyped for this. Because here's the thing with, where is it? Do I still have it around here somewhere? When I was putting stuff away, I put it somewhere around here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here it is. I found it. The thing is, this was a film, when I first saw this, I never said I wanted a sequel to this movie. Because not every single movie needs to have a sequel. Not every movie does. But then again, this is Hollywood, where if anything like this makes a lot of money, yep, it's time for a franchise. Like, did they ever learn? No. And even this is making money, so we'll obviously get a Black Phone 3. But I should have said this earlier, I took a little long to say this, but it is Donji Corleone here, and sadly though, spooky season is over, but we did go see a horror film on Halloween nights, and we're reviewing one to kick off November. But I'm here with a more mixed movie review, because I also should have clarified this. No, this is not a rant, because while I wasn't a fan of this movie, it did have some things I liked about it, so it's more mixed review. I would say it's more of a mixed review, but it's not a good movie either. This is going to be for The Black Phone 2, which is directed by Scott Derrickson, who I've liked some of his recent stuff, per se. I did like the first Black Phone. I did like Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange, that is. Only the first one. And I did love the VHS segment he did called Dream Kill from VHS 85. Which, to be honest, instead of a sequel to this movie, I wish if they wanted to make a follow-up to The Black Phone so bad, they should have made a movie adaptation of that short. Because that short is connected to The Black Phone. It's set in the same universe as The Black Phone. So why not just have your follow-up be set on another family member that has the same abilities, like the same abilities this girl did. Why not focus on other characters with that? You know? It's like what John Carpenter originally wanted to do with the Halloween franchise. Take a bunch of other ideas, you know? Make that your follow-up. Like, a movie adaptation, Dream Kill should have been the follow-up. But instead of that, let's make a sequel to this movie, and we're just going to be a wannabe, watered-down Nightmare on Elm Street clone. Because that's basically what this movie is. So what's the plot of The Black Phone 2? So it's set in 1982, and it's 4 years after the first film. Finney is trying to deal with the trauma of his kidnapping and also succeeding in killing the grabber, who, by the way, should have stayed dead, but this is Bumhouse. They used the whole Freddy Krueger excuse to bring him back. He's still technically dead, but it's just really his ghost in this film. Meanwhile, his sister Gwen has these terrifying visions of mutilated children and nightmares with the phone ringing. So yeah, now is my reaction. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't care how hype this was. I was one of the rare people that was mad this was getting a sequel. The grabber was fucking dead. It's over. The story was done. You could have focused on other characters with disability for your follow-ups, but no. Let's try to be Nightmare on Elm Street, because apparently that was the plan. This is the thing. Not every horror film needs a franchise. Is this guy Freddy Krueger? No. Is this guy Jason Voorhees? No. Is this guy Chucky the Doll? No. Neither of those things. You want to know what made the grabber so unique? It's because he felt like a realistic person. There are actually people like the grabber that actually do kind of exist. That's the thing, that you didn't know anything about him. He seemed more like a 100% human being. No like supernatural powers. Can actually kidnap any child and kill them days later anytime. That's what made him scary. Yeah, the first one has some supernatural elements. I understand that. People are going to tell me the first one was supernatural. Yeah, I know. Like, that's the thing. The ghosts that were calling on the phone, that was supernatural. Gwen's abilities, those were supernatural. There were still supernatural elements in it. But it wasn't trying to be all Nightmare on Elm Street wannabe at all. And that's the thing. Freddy, technically speaking, like even Freddy Krueger's first film, Freddy was already dead long before the first Elm Street even began. That's the thing. Right? It'd be like if the first Nightmare on Elm Street had Freddy actually be an actual person, and then you just never had his actual self until the sequels. And the thing is, like, it's clear, this movie was just made because Blumhouse was going on a downward trend. Most of their films were flopping. Even their shitty Megan sequel flopped. And that's the thing, like, they tried a different genre change and it didn't work out. And they remembered the Black Phone didn't make money, so they decided to finally confirm a sequel. But this movie, okay, sure. I'm gonna say this. Maybe the actual movie wasn't as bad as I was predicting, but it was still not good. It wasn't needed. The film was honestly boring and pointless. It had some good stuff. I'll get to that stuff later, but we're already 6 minutes in this. We're taking too long. How was this film made? So, it was around June 2022 when Scott Derrickson said that while Joe Hill was protective of the 21st century ghost story that The Black Phone was from, he pitched a wonderful idea for a sequel that he was hoping to directing if The Black Phone was a success. And then later August, Derrickson and Hill confirmed that there were discussions to make a sequel and referred to the financial success of the first film as the reason for the project. Then November 2023, they decided that, yeah, we're doing a sequel to the film, and most of the cast members were back, except for the two cops. They don't the two detectives from the first film, they're not in this movie. They don't mention them. You never know what happened to them. And Miguel would also appear, but in a different role from the original. The script was written by Derrickson and Robert Cargill, and the duo served as producers on the sequel. And Derrickson returned as director. And filming began in Toronto on November 4, 2024, and concluded on January 15, 2025. Then Ariana Rivas joined the cast in December, and then filming concluded January 23, 2025. And after the film was officially shot and completed, it premiered at Fantastic Fest on September 20th, 2025, and got released into the theaters on October 17, 2025. Has made a decent amount of money. Did get positive reviews from people, but there are some people that did not like the movie. There are some people that actually admitted the film was disappointing. And some that were crazy hyped for the film. I mean, those people were let down. And I'm not surprised. I am not surprised in the slightest. So, we'll start with the bad qualities in the story, because even in mixed reviews, we start with that stuff. So, what are the bad qualities in the story of The Black Phone 2? So, basically, this sequel does some of the same stuff, but the surprise element from the first is gone. You guys thought the script in the first was generic. I didn't have a problem with the script in the original. But there are some people that did. You guys thought that script was generic. The script for this is much more generic. And that's the thing. this film, like, maybe this film felt better paced. Like, what was this? Like, only an hour 43 minutes long? This is like 114 minutes long. This goes on way too long. Like, and that's the thing. This was made because the black film made money. And yeah, you still got a pretty well made film, but you don't get the quality of the first film. The acting's still good. Ethan Hawke is still good as the grabber in this film with the little scenes he has. Mason Thames, who I liked in the first Black Phone, he also did play in the awful How to Train Your Dragon remake that I did not like, and people are gonna go, what? Yeah, I didn't. Because it's just a lifeless version of the same exact movie. There was nothing special about that. He's back as Finney as this, but the thing is, though, he barely really gets much focus. Most of the movie, it's about Gwen, this time around. And still, she still has the dreams that involve the grabber and some children that he killed at a camp. Still has some elements of the first one, but there's just no tension this time around. Like, and that's the thing. It also does change genres. And then it becomes like ghost busting, like Exorcist thing. It becomes a toned down Elm Street wannabe. It pretty much takes the concept of Black Phone, enables the human antagonist that died in the first one, into some mashup Elm Street meets Friday the 13th marketing franchise. Because they clearly want this grabber to be the next one of those guys, but I like the first one, but even the first one doesn't reach the elements of stuff like Jason Lives, or the first Nightmare on Elm Street, or even Dream Warriors, which, by the way, guys, Dream Warriors was also a better horror sequel than this was. That wasn't 2 hours long. That was way shorter. Jason Lives wasn't 2 hours long. And the cracks in production really show. His whole location that's definitely tiny. And you get some attempted shock scenes that are created for shock without asking if it makes any logical sense. So, how do we start off the film? So, it takes place in 1982, where at first, like, okay, you do kind of start off with a bit of backstory, like before the events of the first film, where this lady's in a booth, answers like mysterious ring on this phone booth, and then after that, you get to our real time frame where Finney's definitely now much more tougher, because ever since he escaped the grabber and killed him, and he's beating up a newbie in his first scene. Gwen stops him from that. And right here, like, the actor who played Robin is back. And this time around, he now plays his brother that has this romance relationship with Gwen, or this crush on Gwen that really did not need to be in the film. It was just really filler. And then while this is all going on, Gwen starts having dreams where she sees the murders that happened at this camp in the mountains in 1957, where pretty much a majority of the film takes place. And during one of the dreams, she receives a call from her mother at the time of the murders, had similar dreams. That's where our film is pretty much kicking off. The direction here, because they know if they make this film, the first one was popular, people are going to rush to go see the film. So the first half of the movie, okay. The first half of the movie was actually kind of interesting. It actually did get my attention. Like, it was, the first half, I was like, okay, maybe this will surprise me. Maybe this might actually end up being better. You do get, like, the backstory at least does not explain how the grabber got his motives. At least they didn't do that. How it all started off, but some of the backstory stuff, I guess, was interesting. Like, like the grabber wasn't just killing those 5 kids from the first film. He did kill some other kids in this camp, which was interesting backstory. Then the rest of the film just feels like sanitized Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, other than, like, those flashback kids in the camp, nobody dies. Some people do get injuries, but nobody dies. There's not really a body count for the actual characters. And there's not a lot of horror that even happens in the film. In fact, like, not much anything happens at all. Once they go to the mountain, they are either in the cabins, or on this frozen pond, or in the cabin again, or on the frozen pond. That's pretty much where they are majority of the film after the first half of the movie, once they get to the mountain. In the first film, yeah, there was a setting where the first one was either Finney in the house held captive by the grabber, but here's the thing. You still cut back and forth. You know, you cut back and forth to Gwen and the two detectives. You still cut to other areas. At least you still saw other areas, not just the house. The whole film. Here, the first half, it's them at their home, and then they basically are in the mountain the rest of the film. You do get some references to other horror movies, but that's not really much. Well, what else? So, Scott really does fall prey to the trap of universe and mythology building. And you think it would be impossible for producer of Black Phone to create a sequel because the first film was clearly intended as one and done. Like, the short story didn't even have a sequel. But then, of course, but money talks. Remember that. Money talks in Hollywood. Nothing ever stays standalone. Look at Happy Gilmore. Look at Joker. Look at The Hangover. Look at Speed. Look at Taken. Look at all those. This always happens. This is Hollywood. There are some remnants of stuff like The Shining, like the isolated mountain setting, which is a nice little explanation of psychological trauma to that whole caretaker character. After he learns of who Finney is, he then pretty much agrees to help them later. Most of the time, like the villain comes back, except he's only in dream sequences. Well, I guess that's a good thing, but even like you think like if they're gonna bring the villain back, he's gonna play a role. Barely really gets a lot of scenes either. He does appear in dream sequences and utter a lot of words like Finney. You of all people know that dead is a word. Like, and of course, you get like other certain like bits of like dialogue where do you mind being sure spells these lines like you met my niece Mustang, or which is just a corny ass line. And of course, like Finney's dead friend's brother having this romance subplot with Gwen was not even cute. It was just really stupid. It felt out of place. You really did not need to do that shit at all. So, Gwen wants to now understand the truth after the flashback, and so she convinces Finney and Ernesto. Yeah, Ernesto's the brother's name. To travel to Alpine Lake Camp, which is this Christian youth camp that Hope worked as a teenager. So they leave, and they pretty much spend the rest of the movie at the mountain. And they do get there, and then this blizzard traps them, and there's like only a few others there. There's the camp supervisor, his niece, and these two really annoying camp employees that, I wish did die. I wish those two got killed because those two are rude. Those two are very annoying. Like, the female one of the two pretty much remind me of the quiet room lady from Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Where I just wanted to tell her to shut up the whole film. And sadly, those two don't get killed. Yeah, they do kind of fall and they do get injured, but they don't get killed. I wish the Ghost Grabber did kill both of them. But then pretty much the three kids then investigate what Gwen's dreams are going to mean. And then, of course, it's around like the second night where Finney gets a call on the camp's dead payphone, and it's from the Grabber. And the Grabber's like, you killed me, and I want revenge. You made me kill my brother, and then you took my life. So I'm going to get revenge on you. And so, most of the film, like, Gwen often 3 times gets attacked by the Grabber in her dreams. 3 times. There, and then of course, then there's another bit of the scene where apparently they're kept in separate cabins because the female members are not allowed to sleep in the male members' cabins, but after like the first bad dream she has, she goes into Finney and Ernesto's cabin, and there's a bit of dialogue between them, and Finney's just listening to the whole thing and basically interrupts them. And Gwen's like, were you listening the whole time? Which I will admit that did get a laugh out of me because, to be honest, like, throughout the film, doesn't really approve of their romantic relationship, and I don't really blame him, to be honest. And like I said before, yeah, Finney's in the film, but the movie's not really about him. Like, they don't really focus much on his trauma that he copes with by smoking a lot of weed. They don't focus much on that stuff. Most of the film, it's about Gwen. Really feels like that most of the time. But eventually, though, after Gwen is attacked a second time in her dream by the grabber, Finney and Ernesto Mustang manage to save her, and one of the rude employees is like, you have the devil in you. I'm like, shut up! But then, of course, though they get there, then Mustang finds out who Finney was, because he remembers, like, Finney was the one who killed the grabber, and they're in the camp's chapel, and Armando and the others find out they have to find the bodies of the grabber's victims to lose his power over the dream realm. Like, most of the film, they extend this runtime, and it's just occupied by a bunch of exposition right there, and of course, like, the biggest surprise is, like, there's no body count in the film. Other than the kids from the dream sequences, nobody dies in the movie. Like, there's times when Gwen's injuries seem fatal, but survives literally all of them. And stakes get lowered way too quick, because this is the thing, there's no body count, and it's obvious, like, they know they're gonna defeat this ghost grabber at the end of the movie. You know it's gonna happen. And their only goal is to rush towards the inevitable sequel, or rush towards the inevitable threequel. That will likely happen at some point, because this is making a lot of money. And screenplay does have a sense of friction about it. It's like, lines like, whatever hate, hell lets sleep, or behind anger's fear, like, that really just underscores the whole weight of the laughable scenario. Like, that's the thing. Like, this film just did not feel memorable. There wasn't much going on that caught my attention. Most of the film just didn't really have much horror. Like, the horror that was in there wasn't scary. Like, the first one had more horror. This one felt way too soft and nerfed. The grabber kills nobody. Everyone just feels safe, and that adds no tension to the horror. Minus the flashback kids. Minus the flashback kids. I'll say that again. Other than that, there's no kills. It's either basically Finney at the phone booth hearing, like, communicating with the grabber at the phone booth, Gwen getting attacked in her dreams, them trying to dig the kids' bodies out of the pond. Other than that. So why make a horror film wannabe Elm Street if you're not going to even have a body count? If you're trying to go slasher territory, isn't that the point? Is to actually have a body count at all? There's no stakes at all in this movie. What's next? Why don't we just make a Friday... You know what? Why don't we just make a Friday 13th or Nightmare On Elm Street movie where all Freddy and Jason would sit on their ass, play video games, eat Doritos, nom, 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 nom. Be a lazy fat ass, or smoke, or you know what, smoke weed like Kevin Smith or Seth Rogen. Imagine if they probably made either a Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street film. Yeah, let's make a Nightmare on Elm Street movie about Freddy Krueger, and then a Friday 13th movie about Jason Voorhees, and all they're gonna do is smoke weed all the time before they go kill people. Imagine that. Can you imagine that? Just imagine if they did something like that. In today's world, they probably would do something like that. My God. Sorry, cringing thinking about that fucking idea. No, the grabber still does shit, but he doesn't kill anybody in his dreams. Injures them, but they don't die from their injuries. It even has some goofy ass fucking entrances I'll mention later. So they go investigate further, and the characters discover that apparently Amanda and the grabber knew each other at the camp long ago. And then the Gwen gets pulled into a dream by where she faces the grabber that night. And then you find out, like, you remember their mother, or it's implied that she committed suicide in the first film? Well, apparently, here's how that all happened. She didn't actually kill herself. Apparently, guess what? The grabber knew her all along and killed her. And only made it look like she killed herself. This whole time. Yeah, apparently the whole time the grabber actually killed her. Which, despite some good closure, that twist later does provide the ending. That twist didn't intrigue me at all. Like, they never mentioned that stuff in the first film. Like, the first film, that's the full thing. The grabber just really felt like a stranger. That added to the suspense. Now just make it saying that the grabber apparently knew the family all along. Apparently he knew all about them. And he killed their mom. Honestly, I thought that twist was fucking stupid. It just took away the tension from the first film. And look, people can get mad at me for saying that all they want. It was such a stupid twist to do. Right? But then, of course, he attempts to kill her, but the injuries she sustained in the dream manifesting reality he's in, she gains power in her dream and fights back, and then Finney and Ernesto wake her up. And then Armando is searching for more bodies. And then also gets attacked by the grabber. And then, remember their abusive father from the first film? Yeah, he's back in this. Well, no, he's not abusive to them in this movie at all, but I was honestly not happy he was back, because I did not like him in the first one. And that was one of my bad qualities of the first one. One of my bad qualities of the first one was that the guy basically didn't get arrested for abusing them. And got off scot-free, basically. And no, that apology at the end of the first one was not good enough in my eyes. This was the guy that beat Gwen with a belt in the first half of the first movie, got annoyed if they made any noise, actually acted as abusive to both her and Finney. Alright? I didn't like this character. Like, even some YouTubers I like wish this character got arrested. There's actually a few YouTubers I like that have reviewed this movie and did not like that this dad got off scot-free at the end. And got easily forgiven. He borrowed a snowplow to get there, and then Gwen confronts both of them on their abuse of drugs and alcohol to avoid thinking about the past. But then, of course, he gets some good acting from Mason Thames, where he pretty much yells back that she doesn't know what he went through when he was at the grabber's place all those days. And then after that, that was one of the scenes I liked of the film, they decide to stay to defeat the grabber, and they're going to put the murdered boys to rest. And then you get this, where we're getting the ending. It's the big finale that's really supposed to really crush you, but it doesn't happen. Fizzles, happens, and it's gone. You don't still get no tension because you know they're going to win. No payoff. Limp emotion. And because if you could have had more effort and more creativity, this could have been one of the stuff that also saved the film. But it's just, yeah, we've been there. We've already done this before. Yeah. And now, Miguel Mora is back in this one and plays like Finney's dead friend's brother, who really didn't feel like a useful character in general. He didn't really contribute much to the plot. You really could have taken this character out. His plot went nowhere. His romance subplot also didn't go anywhere. This whole plot these two have doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't even feel much familiar with the film. And the pace of the movie is slow. Like, the movie should have been split in, like, talk and then action, and you have, like, long stuff dialogue and character interaction that overstay the purpose. And even that stuff was done better in the first film. And expect nothing to happen over 5 minutes. Or then when the phone rings, it's time for the horror parts. And also, don't even bring up the bits where sometimes whenever the grabber does enter in the dream scenes, he literally ice skates on the fucking pond to the characters on these frozen ass ice skates. Like, this shit felt way too damn goofy for something like the Black Phone. Like, wouldn't you be scared of the grabber? Like, no, let's give him these goofy ass ice skates and I'll ice skate on the pond. And once again, Terrence getting some redemption arc in this movie? Fuck that. No. Fuck Terrace. He wasn't even needed in this film either. Giving that BS twist where the grabber apparently knew the family and killed their mom is just lazy. It's a lazy twist. You didn't need to know how she died in the first film. They never even... If they really wanted to do this twist, then they should have established that plot point in the first place. So, now we get on with the finale. So, they go back to the frozen lake. They're going to get the other missing boys out of the lake. Then Gwen falls asleep again, gets attacked by the grabber. And then, of course, the grabber attempts to murder Finney the same way he murdered him and says, look out, the table's a turd. And then also tries to murder Terrace and the others. And Gwen is able to find the boys' bodies and remove the grabber's power. Then the grabber gets attacked by Finney Gwen. They chop off his feet. And then the spirits of the boys, before, being... take him down. And then they basically drag him back to the frozen lake. Back to his grave. You know what this reminds me of? Hey, remember Nightmare On Elm Street 4? You want to remember how Freddy got defeated? Oh yeah. When the spirits of his victims tore him apart, emerged out of his body, and they tore him apart, that's how he got defeated in Elm Street 4. This was like the same fucking thing! This literally copied the same fucking defeat. Except it was, once again, nerfed down. Right there. In Nightmare On Elm Street 4, Freddy got defeated by the spirits of the victims he killed. In that movie. Except, guess what? That defeat was better than this. Here, the grabber gets his feet chopped off, and the spirits of the boys that he killed at the camp, they drag him back down to the bottom of the sea. That's it. That wasn't that epic. Remember the first film? Remember how he got defeated in the first film? When he pretty much when Finney found those useless escape attempts. Well, guess what? That was all used on the grabber in the first film, where after the grabber killed his brother, tried to kill Finney. Yeah, Finney lured him to that little pit that he thought would be an escape attempt, and it wasn't. And that led to this final escape attempt. Right there. And then he fell, he broke his feet there. And then, of course, Finney choked him with the phone cord, and all the victims from that film were calling over the phone, repeating the lines he told them. And then it ended with Robin, Finney's gonna kill you for me. Finn's arm is mint, and snapped his neck? That was more awesome than this. That was much more of a defeat. That was way more satisfying. This didn't feel satisfying at all. Especially because they're going to make a third one, and he's going to come back. He's going to come back in the third one. What next? What next? Are we going to repeat Nightmare on Elm Street 3? Are we going to rip off that film next for the third one? And are we going to rip off the actual plot of Elm Street 4 for the next sequels? Is that what we're going to do? But then the next day, they're leaving the camp, and then this is the part of the ending I did like, where Gwen gets a call on the camp's payphone from their mom and tells Gwen how proud she is of her, and also to tell Finney that Robin says hi. And then Gwen's in tears from this, and this I definitely liked. I definitely liked this ending part. I like that they at least get closure with their mom's death here. A part of me kind of wished that did happen in the first one. But I like that this is how the film ended. So, there's still some good stuff about the film. But that is how the Black Phone 2 ends. Gwen hears the Black Phone ringing again. And she hears the voice of hope that talks to her from the afterlife, gives Gwen reassuring words. And it's a nice way to end the film. Not that great film, it was a nice way to end it. But that's the end of The Black Phone 2. Alright, now do I have any good qualities of the film? Yes, I do. The movie is well acted. Like, Malin McGraw, Mason Thames, Ethan Hawke still give great performances in the movie. The cinematography is incredible. There are some gnarly effects, like the dream sequences are also great. I did like the dream sequences in the film. The dream sequences were the best parts. And you know, I was kind of sold on the first act. Until they got to the mountain, it kind of really just dragged down. Ethan Hawke is still pretty good as the grabber. Despite the fact that he didn't really feel useful to the plot in this movie. And of course, Scott Derrickson still does, I guess, a decent enough job. His direction's still sharp, the atmosphere's still grimy, and the footage he has is still creepy in this film. But this sequel, it was just mediocre. It was just a mixed bag. It was not that great as many people are making this out to be. There are some people that don't like the film, but there are also people that are saying this is one of the best war sequels ever made. This is the best one made in 2025. No, it's really not. It is not one of the best horror sequels of all time. Like, there are some that really make this out to be. If you like the film, that's fine. Each their own. I like this movie. I wish this stayed one and done in the first place. Because it really wasn't that good. Because this first sequel was not even that good. It was basically just a overlong, near 2-hour wannabe Elm Street. And you know, if Blumhouse did make a Nightmare On Elm Street movie, they'd probably make it the tone like this. So in the end, I guess you could just stream The Black Phone 2, but do note that it is still a lazy letdown sequel in my eyes that really isn't really worth watching, unless you just want to see a 2-hour horror film with no body counts, not much stuff, lazy plot points, and rip off Freddy's Defeat on Elm Street 4. You want to see this sequel? Go ahead. But this is just my opinion. Anyways, that's it for my mixed review of The Black Phone 2. You're wondering to rank The Black Phone 2. Here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you're a fan of the first one or excited for this, you're not going to get a whole lot here. So I would really just stream this because you're really just going to get a watered down Elm Street wannabe with this movie. If we're going to rank The Black Phone 2, I'm going to give The Black Phone 2 a 5.5 out of 10. There we go. That officially wraps up my review for The Black Phone 2. Now, I want to know in the comments down below what people thought of this film. Whether you're one of the few that did like this movie, or whether you're one of the few like myself who just wasn't a fan of it. And until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.